Hey guys, I'm Francis Booker, and welcome to Under the Hooded. I have to say it. I'm here to say it, and I'm gonna say it, because someone had to say it. Now listen, I know by saying this, some of you guys won't be able to handle the truth. I know that it's a scary thing to hear. Your entire worldview may be rocked by what you hear in this video. Some of you won't be able to watch the whole video. I don't blame you. It's scary. Don't be afraid to run. But for those of you who stick it out, you're about to learned something. With this video, I'm about to make enemies all over the world. But I'm going to say it anyway. The Imperial versus the metric system. Which one is better? Now, I like to think I come from a somewhat unbiased view. I don't, but I like to think I do. Because I am American. I grew up using the Imperial System. However, I also studied science. And in science, you use the metric system. So I'm familiar with both of them. And there is a time and a place to use both of them. Before I go any farther, I will just say, if you're doing science, use the metric system. It's better for science. Let me settle that real quick. For science, metric system, all the way. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. However, I want to talk about it for the average person. For day-to-day life, which system should we use? The fact is, neither. They're both really weird. But they both do have their pros and cons. So I'm going to break it down, each unit of the metric system versus Imperial system, which one's better. Before we even start, can I just say how grateful I am that there is no Imperial second. Imagine if we had different units of time in the United States than we did in the rest of the world. That would be really annoying. So the second goes to both of them. 1 point for each of them to start us off. The next thing I want to talk about is temperature. Now listen. People are going to disagree with me. And it's because it's hard. It's real hard to tell temperature if you're not familiar with the other system. However, this was explained to me, and I have stuck by it ever since. The Imperial system is built around human temperatures. The metric system is built around the temperatures of water. So, in the Imperial system, 0 degrees Fahrenheit is really cold. 100 degrees Fahrenheit, really hot. In the metric system, 0 is kinda cold, and 100 is unlivable by a long margin. It means that the metric system's degrees, they span more or less from, I don't actually know negative what, to about 36-ish. So you have not many degrees to work with. You have probably about twice, probably even over twice the number of degrees to work with in Fahrenheit. So you can get a little bit more specific without having to get a decimal involved. I can understand if you grew up with the metric, you'd be more comfortable with it, but I think objectively speaking, Fahrenheit's better for the day-to-day temperature readings. Alright. That's another point for the Imperial system. Let's get a little crazy now. Let's talk volume. I live in the United States. I have no idea what a pint or a quart or a fluid ounce is. I'm just being real with you. The only place I've ever seen a pint or a quart is with ice cream and drinks. Mostly ice cream. I know what a pint of ice cream looks like, but then it just gets even more confusing because ice cream's a solid and usually use those for liquid measurements. And that's just weird. Gallons, I only understand in terms of gasoline. And that's a problem. that I really don't get what a gallon is. Now, liter and milliliter, they're just better. Like objectively so better. I understand. I mean, even in the United States, we actually use liter. Like, we call it a 2-liter thing of soda. We don't call it a... I don't know what the conversion is. A fourth gallon? 1 quart? I don't really know. I forgot what the conversions are. We call it a 2-liter thing of soda because liter makes more sense. And milliliter is even better because milliliter is 20 drops. It's a pretty easy amount to do. I don't know why we have quarts and fluid ounces. And it gets even more confusing because fluid ounces and weight ounces are both in the Imperial System, and I don't know what's up with that. That confuses me. I gotta give volume to the metric system. Put it up there. I don't know if I have a scoreboard. I hope I do. Yeah, fluids, volumes, metric, liter, milliliter, all the way. Now, I have heard, because I've had this discussion with Michael many a time, Michael is against the liters for cars. That's a thing he grew up with, though. I don't think there's a difference. If you're filling your car up with liters or gallons, there's not really a difference. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. How about length? What are we talking with length? We talking yards? We talking feet? Meters? Centimeters? So I think that this one's a little bit less important. The volumes and the temperature I feel pretty strongly about. Length I don't feel very strongly about. I think I gotta give it to metric again, just because if you're measuring like a human height, you gotta get into a decimal for that. But to be honest, it's not really that different than Imperial, where we say feet and inches. And I like the idea of having just one unit instead of having like multiple. And then feet and inches, I mean, it's not round. The whole 12 inches to a foot thing. You can get used to it. It makes sense after a while, but like it shouldn't be something you have to make sense of. Whereas like length, I mean, centimeter to meter is really easy, and I can just give my height in meters just with a decimal, and I will implicitly understand how many centimeters that is. I think it's a better unit that way. I don't really know what else you're really measuring. I mean, you can measure anything, I guess, but height is probably the most common thing you're gonna have to want to measure, unless you're measuring long distances, in which case you're talking kilometers or miles. And I think for the average Joe, it doesn't make a difference. I think it's another one that's just is whatever one you're more familiar with. Kilometer or mile, I mean, it's such a long distance, and it's such you're not measuring it precisely in your day-to-day life. It doesn't really matter. You're just whichever one you're more comfortable with. But since I gave length to meter, I guess I'll give it to kilometer as well, just because why not? All right. Now we're getting somewhere. How about weight? Weight's weird, right? Weight is another one I think really could go either way. Yeah, I don't really see pound versus kilo. It's actually, I think it's different depending on what we're talking about. I think at higher weights, I actually think pound is a little bit better for human body weight. Just because, kind of for a similar thing to what I said earlier, which is that metric tends to use decimals. We don't really tend to use decimals with pounds with human weight unless we're being really specific. Usually we're just going to round it to the nearest whole number. Kilogram, I think rounding it to the nearest whole number you can do, but I think it's less precise that way because it's like 2.2 pounds to the kilogram, so it's a little bit less precise that way. Not really the biggest deal in the world, but I do think pound is a little bit better for heavy weights. Or at least not heavy weights, necessarily, but human body weights. Now, the opposite is absolutely true when we're talking small weights. because, again, I don't really understand ounces. Ounces are weird. You don't really measure anything but food and babies with pounds and ounces, as far as I've ever noticed, at least. Yeah, I don't know about ounces. Ounces are weird to me. And the fact that we have fluid ounces really also messes me up, because whenever I see an ounce of something, I'm often confused whether they mean fluid ounce or pound ounce. Whereas gram makes sense. Gram, 1 gram is a pretty small amount, but not that small. You're not really going to measure out anything less than 1/10 of a gram in your, average day-to-day life. And 1 gram is something that makes a lot of sense. And you have 1,000 of them until you get to a kilo. So you really can get pretty accurate, I feel like. Just like even in like spitballing, if I say something's 500 grams, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense to me. Although at that point you're around a pound anyway. But so I'm split. I'm split on weight. I really am. I think pound is good in certain circumstances, and I think gram. I think pound is better than kilogram, but I think gram is better than ounce. So I will split the difference on that one. I gotta. There's no good way to do that one, I guess. All right, what else are we talking? I'm running out of units. Let me Google it real quick. All right. I mean, from what I'm telling, it seems like that's most of the units that people care about. It seems like metric 1. But yeah, I guess a metric 1. I don't remember what the final score was, but I think metric 1. Sorry, American viewers. I'm American too. It hurts. It hurts to admit. But I guess metric is better, even for day-to-day life. I will say, temperature, Imperial was absolutely better. For a lot of the, for volumes, metric is better. For a lot of these other ones, I kind of came up with the reasons that metric was better, or Imperial was better, but they were kind of pushing it. They were kind of, it really could have gone either way. I guess metric is better, though. Good luck trying to change all the road signs in the United States, though. And of course, this video was just for fun. Please don't take anything I say seriously. Although, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on Imperial versus metric. I know people feel very strongly because they can't understand the other one, and I feel that. I really don't understand temperature in Celsius. I just don't. I don't understand when people say their heights in Celsius, or in Celsius. People say their heights in Celsius. I don't understand when people say their heights in meters. I really struggle to understand exactly what I'm hearing when I hear that. But I tried to be as objective as I could. Maybe I didn't. Whatever. I'm Francis Booker. Check out the description below for links to our website and to our Twitter. And the link to our book, Stand, The Hooded Book 1. You can get that now on Amazon. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and please comment. Let me know what you guys think. I'm actually really curious if you guys agree with my assessment, if you disagree, if you have further thoughts on this. Let me know. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. I'm Francis Booker. Bye-bye.